present with my friend Schmele. I mean, he's the one who was organizing, he's not organizing, he's the one who got this whole idea. But I wanted to start first and say, tell you a little story and how we made it and how this whole project started, so you have background and context. Basically, we studied together at this university 2 years ago, and we were doing like 2 different projects. 2 of us were friends. We were talking about that every once in a while, and then we just learned that he was doing 3D audio compositions and how to use the space as part of the composition, music and sound and whatever. And I was trying to understand the brain by sonifying it, by making music out of the brain. So we just met and said, okay, so why don't we mix both fields? It's going to be interesting, definitely. And that's how this whole project started. That was 2 years ago, and this is the last outcome that we had, which is called Neurospaces. So you would also like ask yourself, like, what is all this about? Maybe you know, maybe you don't know. So is it about art and science? Is it about brain stuff, because brain is very trendy right now? Is it about like playing around, because we like to play a lot? Is it about saving the world? So basically it's almost every one of these things together, but the one that saves the world, we're not going to do that tonight. And sorry for that joke. And so basically it's everything. It's nothing. It's to play around, to see what we can do through the outer space, to understand the brain, and to make basically a contemporary art, like music piece, which is basically his field. So I'm going to start explaining. Well, his field is more 3D audio, and I will be more the brain guy. So I will introduce you a little bit of the brain thing, just so you can understand what we're doing. Okay, so as I say in the introduction, what I was interested into was how to understand this complexity of the brain. How to, if we were able to get a little bit more knowledge out of it, and instead of visualizing the data from the brain, instead of like making it into a screen, my idea was to make it into the loudspeaker, so you can hear it, so you could have the feel, just lay on the bed and see what is the brain doing. That's called 3D. Well, that's called sonification, actually. At the beginning, my approach was more scientific, but then I mixed up with Tim. We thought that it would be a great idea to make it something artistic, like something aesthetic, or something that would be kind of new, at least for us, something that we could play around, be creative. And that's what we're doing, actually. We're not, we don't want to be super rigorous, we want to be inspired by the brain, inspired by what they have to say to us. And as it says here, it's fMRI, so that's how we get the brain data, how we get everything that's inside us, how we get outside into a digital computer. And that's what we use as a tool. So it's called functional magnetic resonance imaging. Basically, you get into this machine, they tell you to do a little bit of stuff. In this case, they will listen to music, and then you get like a picture of your brain, like a 3D picture of it, like very nice, like very high resolution of it. It's very expensive. It's a well expensive machine, but you get for that like very precise information of the energy of the brain, basically how active is the brain during that test. Well, that's a little bit of numbers. What is all this technique about? Basically, it says it's a lot of everything, a lot of data, a lot of complexity. Which in that case, I was the one who had to handle that. So in this case, the role what you should do is you get all this compass output from the brain, and you try to select what is the most important thing, because it will be too much to handle. So you just like study them in like actually I don't study them. The computer does the whole thing. So basically, the computer studies and says, okay, you're important. You're also important, and you too. So I take the important guys, and that's what I use as information. Basically, that's called feature extraction. Once you got this important features, I was able to convert that into music. Basically, well, not music, first to frequency, and then into notes, like make it correspond to notes. So on the left side, you see well, first the right side. On the right side, you see how this feature changed over time, like standard graphic that doesn't say a lot, but that's brain. And on the left side, it's the frequency response from that. So basically, having another perspective of it. And as it says in the arrow, then we change that into notes, which I guess Timothy Schmele is the one who could explain it better than me.
So basically, these note scales, we analyzed about 100 of the brain and extracted exactly 100 note scales. And the piece itself is going to be synchronized with the actual outcome of the experiment. So people were listening to music while their brains were being active. And this music was a ritual world. Sorry? There we go. So it was a ritual growth that they were listening to. And the idea was to basically do this feedback loop where we would filter the music that they were listening to with their own brain. So by extracting these notes, we can use these notes as a sieve, and with the sieve, we can then refilter the original music that they were listening to. Each of these sections, each of these 100 points in the brain corresponding to the experiment were about 8 seconds. So every 8 seconds in this composition, the tonal material morphs and changes. And we want to give you a little example of how this filtering process sounds. So first of all, let's listen to the original MIDI rendered music that they were listening to. And now we have, for example, 2 examples which sounded very nice and which were used in the composition. You might be able to hear them later on as little snippets here and there. The first example, Raj? And the second example, a bit more extreme in the higher regions. So I then went about and I had all this base material, and then the task was to compose this across the instruments that were available to me. And I didn't just want to do this in any manner, I wanted to stay true to the brain movement. So what I did was I sectioned the brain in 5 parts, as you can see here. And every section of the brain corresponds to one instrument. So in this frontal part, you're actually looking at the front part of the brain. The frontal part of the brain, which is represented by the vibraphone. Whereas the sides are represented by the oboe, and the other side is represented by the flute, and the back by the trombone and the accordion. And I can take a mean of the energy in this region, and the different curves with different colors, you can see them over here. Based on these curves, I can then decide where I want to distribute the tonal material to which instrument. So that the tonal material sort of moves across as the brain sort of moves its energy across as well. Then the next part is, so now we have the score, but on top of the score we have the 3D audio, and we do this 3D audio by recording the musicians that are going to play live, and in real time process their sound and only their sound to produce the electronic sounds you'll be hearing on top of this. And we basically have 3 algorithms that represent the brain in different ways. One algorithm is what I like to call the rapid panning modulation, which is basically you take a sound and you spin it so fast that you cannot hear the movement anymore, and it fuses into one sound synthesis. Now, the interesting thing is I'm doing this by spreading a bunch of virtual speakers across the real speaker. So instead of using the 24 speakers that we have present in this room right now, I'm actually overlaying 52 virtual speakers. And in each of these 52 points, I can introduce modulation. And where these points are situated in space corresponds to the actual region of the brain, which has the amount of energy that it does that modulates the sound in that area. Additionally to that, I did another thing called the cones algorithm, where I didn't just section the brain into cones, but then slice these cones to also represent the depth of the brain to the outside. And this is represented by different filters of different center frequencies, and you can hear sort of a slow drone that morphs as the brain works on the processed information. And finally, my favorite effect in this whole thing, also because I came to learn that the brain is not a brain of regions, really. The brain is a brain of patterns and networks. And especially when listening to music, it is incredible how the complete brain is active. So this last algorithm that I'm using is a delayed line network, which basically sends input audio all across the room based on specific points that Manuel analyzed before. And these connections are also transformed as the brain works on the information in real time. And so you get a really good feel for the network nature of this instrument that we have in our head. I would like to give some thanks to some people without whom this concert would not be possible at all. And before I forget someone, I wrote down a list. First and foremost, I want to thank KiiCS to make all of this possible from the start. Especially also to Phonos, to Andres Levin and Sonia Esky, with whose efforts would be impossible. I also want to thank Rafael Ramirez and the MTG group from Pompeo Fabra, which helped us a lot with the brain data. Special thanks goes to my employer, Barcelona Media, especially the audio group, which helped me tremendously, and with whom also this would not be possible. This whole composition basically got created in the studio of Barcelona Media. I want to thank Kevin Castelleras, who is not here with us today, Professor Esmuk, who gave us the opportunity to record this concert entirely in binaural audio, so one can listen to this again in 3D. I also want to thank Código Sound, who built the structure for us to hang the speakers overhead. I want to thank my friend Manuel Gomez, who has been with me the whole 2 years of this project, and it's been a lot of fun doing this. Of course, all the technical assistants, Jose Gonzalo, Pablo Perez, and Nadine Coleman, many thanks to you. And I also want to thank my parents, who not only helped me, but who also donated money to make the concert possible. Thank you very much. And without further ado, I want to please you to give a special applause to our musicians, to Nuria Dora, Andres Bucci, Vladimir Benye, Kenzie Sloto, and Zacharias Vamoskosis.
está ligado al proyecto KiiCS, que es un proyecto de comunicación científica. Esta parte se ha finalizado, esta parte de concierto de hoy, y a partir de ahora lo que hará es un repertorio de composiciones que no están directamente relacionadas con el proyecto KiiCS. O sea que dejamos 2 minutitos para que los que habéis tenido el Campus Gutenberg, quien no pueda quedarse al resto del concierto o no quiera porque tengáis otras actividades, dejamos unos 2 minutos para que se queden solamente los que vayan a estar todo el resto del concierto.
Είχαμε σήμερα το welcome session και μας είπαν να έρθουμε σε ένα παράδειγμα. Α, για αυτό και το δικό συγγείο. Α, ναι, και σήμερα έγινε χαμός. Τι γίνεται, μας πάει? Καλά. Εδώ, πρώτη φορά έπαιξε κάτι τόσο σύγχρονο.
Que ya somos suficientes que pueden entrar en el programa.
Acordeón σχέδιο.
Πολύ πολύ.
Ναι, ήταν αστιάκι προς το σκηνό για εμάς. Y volvemos. Y ahora déjame que haces otro más.
Μετά έχει πολλή δουλειά αυτό. Έχει πολλή δουλειά και πρέπει να ξέρεις πολλά πράγματα μόνο. Άντια σε κάποια μαθήματα στα κέρα, ας πούμε, έχει πολύ debugging, και είναι λίγο αποκεφαλιά να πλακεί, δηλαδή. Συμπάγτα από την Ελλάδα. Σε λίγο να μας πάει. Δεν έχει κανένα πρόβλημα. Μάθει απλά είναι λίγο αποκεφαλιά με κομμάτια. Έχει να δώσει σημασία, δεν το σημασία. Εκεί που να δώσει σημασία είναι στο masterpiece. Θα μου αρέσει να συνεχίσει.